And now from our studios in downtown Winnipeg, it's time for 107 Live.
This Sunday at 7 o'clock at St. John's College out at the University of Manitoba, Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra's principal cellist, Yuri Hooker, will present the first of a set of concerts collectively called the SOLAS Vespers. These concerts are based around the 5 SOLAS that are prominent principles taught in the branches of Protestantism and come out of the Protestant Reformation. Sunday's SOLAS Vespers event will feature Richard Turner on harp and an evening that will present a joyful Christmas service of carol singing with organ and strings. Joining me here in the Classic 107 studios to talk about this wonderful event is the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra's principal cellist, Yuri Hooker. Welcome to our Classic 107 studios.
Thanks, Chris.
I understand you're going to, first of all, start by playing us a little Christmas carol. Maybe you want to set that up?
Sure, yeah. I'm going to play a piece that's not well known by many people. It was written in the mid-16th century, and it comes from the Genevan Psalter. Some people may know it as a carol called Comfort, Comfort Now My People.
All right, I'll let you take it away. I'm just going to move the mic a bit. Wonderful. I'll let you come up to the mic. So I want to first of all talk about how this whole series started. Can you tell us about the genesis of the series? This is the second year that you've done this, right?
That's right. Yeah. Last year we had 5 of these services. I've always been looking for something that could combine 2 of my main passions. One is, of course, music, and the other is the church and the gospel that the church preaches.
So, when you were coming up with the series, did you have in mind, like, how did you come across the idea of the SOLAS idea and connecting it to music?
Right. Well, some of that has just been sort of through my personal research. In my faith tradition, which is Baptist, the solos are not talked about all that often. So as I was discovering the roots of my own religious heritage, the Baptists, I was discovering back in the 1600s about the Reformation and the 5 solas of the Reformation. And in my tradition, classical music or even old music is generally not done all that often, and I wanted to bring in some of the great works of art from the centuries of the church, and also pair them with a gospel kind of preaching.
Right, and it's one of the great things about classical music is there's so much amazing music that comes and from the church.
Absolutely,
it's a perfect pairing. Do you want to quickly talk about the 5 solae or solas?
Sure, yeah. So the first one generally is called sola scriptura, which is scripture alone. So that's one the basic, really the the catalyst for the Reformation, which was a return to scripture as the sole authority by which we base our lives. And from that spring the other 4. So we have sola fide, which is by faith alone. Sola Gratia, which is by grace alone. We have Solus Christus, through Christ alone. And then finally, Soli Deo Gloria, which is the motto that Bach wrote at the end of every score, which means to the glory of God alone.
Right. So Sunday night's concert, which of the 5 SOLAS principles will be the focus of that Sunday concert?
Well, it's interesting. Last year we had five services, and each one focused on one of them. This year, what I've decided to do instead is to work through the book of Isaiah. So I'm actually on a long-term project preaching through the book of Isaiah when we're kind of in the middle of the first chapter still.
Right. So, I mean, it's not only music. There's also going to be some lectures as well.
That's right. Yeah. So each one of these services has had a sermon that I preached, and so as I said in the first season of them, I preached. I took a passage from Scripture and amplified one of those solas. This year, I've been, as I said, working through the book of Isaiah, and it's a long-term project. In this particular service, I've just recently made a very a quick decision. Instead of having a sermon in this service, we're actually going to have a long carol that I composed on Sunday, and it's kind of a sermon in a carol.
Nice. And it sort of brings me to my other question. What music is going to be performed at the
this Sunday, as I think you mentioned before, we're going to be doing a lot of carol singing together. The service is going to be about an hour long, so a little bit shorter than what we've done in the past.
Right.
We'll be doing quite a few carols. There will also be some beautiful harp music, so music for solo harp that Richard Turner will be playing, including the Britain Interlude and a piece, sonata by Paschetti. And then, of course, we're going to be debuting this new carol that I was inspired to write on Sunday.
And how many members are there in the ensemble for this carol?
Well, for the carol, the forces at this service will have an organ, and we'll have a string orchestra made up of students. So there'll be some from university age all the way down to about age 10, supporting the carol singing of the congregation.
So complete complement of string players.
Yep, that's right.
Nice. There's also going to be a short question and answer session. Can you talk about that?
Right. Well, part of this idea is to bring people who don't normally go to a church service and maybe have some questions about faith, and I want to be there to answer any questions that people might have about it. And so that's kind of after the service in an informal way.
I'm interested in this carol that you've composed.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What's the form of it? Like, how did you structure it?
Well, it has some. It actually came to me while I was playing in a WSO rehearsal on Sunday, Brother Heinrich's Christmas, where Brother Heinrich actually has to write a carol for Christmas, and the idea hit me that maybe I should write a carol, and so I did. And it's really in the vein of a traditional Christmas carol. It has a refrain that comes back in every verse, but the first 2 lines of the carol take you through the Christmas story all the way through to Christ's resurrection.
Huh. And how long is it?
It's 8 verses. So
okay.
But they go by pretty quick, actually. So I think probably about 4 or 5 minutes.
And is the carol written for the entire string section as well?
What's written for, just as any Christmas carol would be, to be sung in parts. And so in my own carol, this is just going to be accompanied by the organ. The more traditional carols are going to be done with the strings and organ. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about? I mean, I know Richard Turner is going to be performing the intermezzo. Do you know any other harp pieces that he's playing?
The Paschetti, I believe the piece is called Andante Espressivo,
which
is a very mournful, plaintive piece for harp. It's absolutely beautiful.
And is it? Can you talk a little bit about the Christmas carols, aspect of it?
Absolutely. So we have probably about 5 or 6 of some favorite carols. "O come all ye faithful, hark the herald angels sing," "Come thou long expected Jesus," and then there'll be also some or "Silent Night" would be another one that we're singing. There will be some that are less familiar. So of course mine, but also there we'll be having. Of course, now I'm going to blank on with the ones that are less well known.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be about 3 or 4 that are less well known as well.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. Mm-hmm. Yuri, I want to thank you so much for stopping by our Classic 107 studios and talking to us today. It's been a real treat.
Well, it's my pleasure.
If you are interested in seeing this concert on Sunday, this Solar Vespers concert, you can this Sunday at 7 o'clock at St. John's College, which is located at 92 Dysart Road, out by the University of Manitoba. This promises to be a service that celebrates the joyfulness of the holiday season. If you want more details, you can go to solasvespers.com. .com.
.org, actually.
Is .org.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. SolasVespers.org.
From our studios in downtown Winnipeg, you've been listening to 107 Live, Classic 107's Intimate Concert Series, the soundtrack for your life.